official. Russell Guerard will run for South Carolina House District 110. In this edition of Quintins CloseUps, I speak exclusively with him one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintins CloseUps app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Mr. Russell,
Quintin,
it's so good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
We saw each other at the Charleston County Republican Party banquet last week.
Yes, sir.
And that was a fun event.
That was a fun event. I got to watch you get your award, and it was well deserved.
Thank you greatly. Another event that is going on right now politically is the race for House District 110. And I understand that you're jumping back into the race. Tell me why now?
Quintin, it goes back to ethics reform. And it's why I ran the first time. And the big sore thumb is SC&G and SCANA. And I'd like to see our customers get, I'm a customer,
right,
get 18-20% reduction of my power bill each month instead of it going to a big hole up in Fairfield County that'll never produce any energy.
How did we get here?
Well, it was Base Load Review Act was voted on in 2007. What's crazy is you'll get the lobbyists for SCANA can go out and pay legislators to vote on something for them, give them $500, $1,000 donation, whatever, and the legislators will vote on something, and it'll affect the citizens of this state for the next 15, 20, 25 years. When you're talking about the $8 to $10 billion that SCANA basically is using the citizens of the state to leverage that to build a power plant. It boggles my mind, Quintin.
And let me stay in Columbia. Obviously, it's budget week. If you were a state representative right now, what would you leave in the budget and what would you take out of the budget?
Well, Quintin, we always need lots of money down here in Charleston. We're the driver of the state, and infrastructure is a huge issue for us. I'd like to see some money come this way for our roads. I opposed the gas tax when I ran last time. With a dysfunctional DOT, I don't believe we should be giving them any more money. But a user tax is definitely the thing that makes sense. But I'd like to see DOT cleaned up before we give them any more money. But the gas tax was passed, and we'll go with it now. But if I had a magic wand, I'd like to see some money come back down this way, and let's work on infrastructure.
You talk about infrastructure. You talk about us, this particular region, being the driver of the state. What's the holdup on the extension of 526 in your mind?
Well, Quintin, it's money, and I guess you could look at it back in the day when we had Governor Sanford and we had Mr. Harrell was the Speaker of the House, and Glenn McConnell was in the state Senate, and we had some people that had some tenure up there, and they could get things done, sure, and that helped push that along. Now they're gone, and we've kind of lost our way a little bit with 526, but I think just with the growth that's coming this way, Quintin, it's going to be built, and probably be built 10, 15 years from now. And in the meantime, I'd like to see us work with maybe local law enforcement. Let's get some traffic cops out on Maybank Highway, moving this traffic over the Stono Bridge onto Johns Island, and making it a little bit easier for the people that live out there.
And you talk about growth, and another topic right now is offshore drilling. Where are you with this discussion?
Offshore drilling, I don't think there's enough oil offshore to drill. I think there are probably other easier places to go drill for oil companies, and so I oppose it. As a born and raised here, I love the beach and the marshes, as we all do, and I don't think our tourist business is too important, and we love to go to the beach and stuff like that. So we don't need any of that kind of stuff around there. They're big and messy. So let's pass on the petroleum business right now.
Describe to me the following in one word: the high school dropout age.
Quintin, it's any time anyone's dropping out, that word is a negative. So we need to work harder on trying to help these folks before they drop out. That age being 17 years old, I'd like to have them motivated prior to thinking about dropping out, and we talked about vocational schools and that sort of thing, and sometimes kids learn a little bit differently too in the early ages. So maybe we need to focus on trying to work with some of the kids that maybe are a little disadvantaged and learning the traditional route instead of losing 1 in 5 kids to some type of a learning disability. So dropout is never a good word.
Describe to me the following one word: the opioid crisis.
Quinn, it's horrible, and you read about it every day in the newspaper, and young kids are getting a hold of drugs, and it's ruining their lives. It goes back to education and parents and talking about it with their children and making them be aware, and that's really the best thing I think you can do right now is talk about it and make them aware of it, and so they know what's going on.
Describe to me the following one word: the daylight savings time.
Quinn, I don't like it, and you probably don't like it, and I've got 3 small children, and Monday was crazy at my house, and I don't know anyone that likes it. I just don't know how you get rid of it. I believe everybody would like to get rid of it. I don't know if it's a statewide by state thing, a federal thing. The federal government probably needs to step in and just make it happen. But we need to split it. Take a half an hour from the morning and a half an hour in the evening, and then go with that, so it makes everybody happy. It's an antiquated measure that's time is long gone.
And I want to take it back to February 28th, because what's going on now in Columbia was big back then. But this is the headline that Jamie Lovegrove of the Post and Courier wrote, and this is a story he wrote, quote, "Frustrated by gridlock, dozens of South Carolina lawmakers call for new state constitution," unquote. Tell me, if you were in the House right now, what would you rewrite as far as the Constitution?
Well, Quentin, it goes back to where the governor was stripped of his powers 100 plus years ago, and our governor needs more power so he or she can make decisions based on the entire state versus little pockets of powerful state senators or representatives that control areas. It's a noble attempt. I know it's been tried a lot, and I wish him well. But I do agree that the governor does need more power if that does happen, the state will run much more efficiently. I wish him well.
And I forgot to ask you this, but let me talk to you about guns. Where are you in your mind on this powerful discussion?
Quentin, I'm a firm believer that people kill people, not guns, but I think there's some things we can do to make it kind of raise the bar a little bit and make things not quite as easy. I'm not a believer that teachers should have weapons. I do believe that we should have trained law enforcement in our schools. I don't believe teachers should be carrying pistols or weapons or that sort of thing. We got to look at mental health. We all know that these people that do these horrible things have some pretty serious mental health issues. We got to be more vigilant. We've got to speak up. There's a lot of things we can do, and hopefully we're at the forefront of this, because seeing all these killings is horrible.
If I were a voter sitting right across from you right now, I would be asking this one question: what could you be doing in South Carolina, especially in Columbia, that William Cogswell is not doing right now in your mind?
Well, Quentin, I'm not sure really what he is doing up in Columbia. I haven't heard one word from him on this SCANA thing. And I would just tell whoever that, while you're busy here working here in Charleston, I'm going to go to Columbia, and I'm going to look out for you. You don't have time every day to figure out the ins and outs of Columbia and why your money is being wasted and that sort of thing. And I'll be a vigilant watchdog up there. And it goes back to like SCANA, for instance. Say a $500 power bill, you're paying $100 just for a failed nuclear reactor. That's ridiculous. That thing's never going to fly. That Base Load Review Act should have been repealed a long time ago, but instead SCANA keeps hitting up the customers, and they keep paying a dividend, which in my mind, I just can't get my head around it. It boggles my mind. It's almost theft. So I would be a humongous advocate there and try to get this Baseload Review Act repealed and let's get our power bills down. Some real money.
Oh yeah, of course. That's what a lot of people agree on. Russell Guerard, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Clint, good to see you. Always. Yes, sir.